David Leitch's action film will be released soon, and the controversy around it has only gotten bigger. While the film stars Hollywood greats like Brad Pitt and Sandra Bullock, we've got a few issues. Bullet Train is yet another example of whitewashing in Hollywood, seeing how it's adapted from a Japanese novel and has a majority white cast. It seems like the author has different views. Let's find out what he has to say. First up, the film is based on Kotaro Isaka's Japanese novel Maria Beetle, but the main cast is mostly white. A lot of you may not have known that Bullet Train is based on a book. We don't blame you for that. The trailer or the movie poster said nothing of the sort, but the recent controversy told us everything. The film story is taken from Maria Beetle, a Japanese dark comedic thriller novel by author Kotaro Isaka. The book was published in 2010 and has been very popular in Japan. While the book was translated to English in 2021, this film has been developing since 2019. The story's central premise follows a group of assassins aboard a Tohoku Shinkansen Hayate train. Each of these hitmen has a different mission, but they're all connected. When you first hear of a Hollywood film adaptation of a foreign book, you think, sure, there have to be some white actors in it, even though that's not the way to go. We know our film industry is a long way from having all Asian casts. Crazy Rich Asians was an example, but it was still an exception to the rule. To be honest, most audiences and critics are okay with a bit of whitewashing here and there. We can't expect much else, can we? But an entirely white main cast, even though the film is still set in the original location of Japan? To think that the film would have one main Japanese actor is upsetting on so many levels. Okay, yeah, so there are other Japanese actors too. That should make it better, right? Sure, if you count a nameless train crew member as an important character for the story. If you ask us, that only makes it worse. The controversy around the film should have been expected since the casting was announced, and it got progressively worse with each poster and trailer. Next up, the Japanese American Citizens League criticizes the casting. Many have spoken out against the outrageous casting of the film, with the Japanese American Citizens League at the forefront of it all. The league's executive director, David Inoue, agrees with the whitewashing charges. The movie story is still based on original Japanese characters in a Japanese setting. You see, these actors would have been suited had the story been taken from the book, but adapted to the US or some part of Europe, but it's not. He added that the movie simply can't pass these white characters as foreigners in a country because those people are a minority in Japan. To have them populate the movie is just ignoring the setting, which is not only offensive but also irresponsible storytelling. From a filmmaking point of view, it just doesn't make sense. It's highly unrealistic. You'd think the director of Hobbs and Shaw might know better. Unfortunately, he doesn't. Here's what angers us the most. Yes, having an all-white protagonist cast is very problematic, but what's worse is that all the side characters and villains are still Asian. That's a very bad look, alienating Japanese people as the bad guys in their story. David calls out the actors for signing these roles, saying that they should be questioned about their allyship with the Japanese community. Japanese characters are only in the background, while Brad Pitt, Joey King, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Sandra Bullock take front and center positions. These people are globally famous actors and should realize the importance of such choices. The fact that there's barely any comment from them is just disappointing. Many argue that actors should be chosen based on skill, not race. Sure, why not? But we've never seen this come up when Asian actors are cast in the place of white characters. That is, if they are ever cast for those roles. And skill? You're trying to tell us that there is no single Asian actor in Hollywood who could have played this role just as well? Yeah, okay. We all know what happened when Netflix cast a black actor as the main villain for Resident Evil, or when Zendaya played MJ, so don't even get us started here. What this casting does is perpetuate the age-old notion that Asian characters aren't main character worthy. They're not fit to carry a blockbuster, even though we've all seen the massive success of movies like Crazy Rich Asians and Shang-Chi. Coming up, Bullet Train isn't just whitewashed, but also heavily fetishized. It's not just the cast that's been whitewashed, but the entire story is. Japan is whitewashed to make it look more attractive to a white audience. Everything is amped up with all the cool elements. Demon masks, walking through Akihabara at night, sakura petals, yakuza, samurai swords, and Brad Pitt punching a mascot? Yep, Bullet Train is here to give you the full yet completely inauthentic Japan experience. How exciting. Asian American Media Alliance's director, Milton Liu, also called out the film for fetishizing Asian culture as exotic while the Asian people are barely represented. For Liu, that's more problematic than any whitewashing. David also said that judging from the trailer, the movie's setting is more like a caricature of Japan than the country itself. Even the train, the primary location for the story, looks nothing like typical Japanese Shinkansen. There's no quiet car, and the station lockers are misplaced. Did the filmmakers do any research at all? Or did they deliberately do all this to make the movie look cool to white audiences? Even the book's writer couldn't relate to the Japan he saw in the film's trailer, and he's still been very accepting of the whitewashed cast, so it's not biased. And now for the big one. The book's author is okay with his characters and story being whitewashed. In this strangest turn of events, it seems like the original storyteller, Isaka, has given his blessing to the main white cast and the hyper-neon setting of the film. The author says he never decided on his characters' races, even even when writing the book some 12 to 15 years ago. For all he knew, these weren't real people and they could be non-Japanese. As for the story being too westernized, well, the novel was also full of Western references. For example, one of the assassins loves Thomas. Yeah, Thomas the Tank Engine, and you can see that in the movie too. The film's director had the vision to make the movie international, hence the casting choice. It does make us wonder though, why do the only white people or the English language make a film international? Isn't that problematic in itself? As for deciding on whether to change the location from Japan to Europe, to make the majority white cast make sense, the filmmakers did think about moving it elsewhere. But as Leach says, Tokyo is as international of a city as anywhere. Isaka also pointed out that having a bullet train is the show's main point, and they could only imagine one in Japan. Well, let the man tell his story the way he wants. But we doubt casting would have been much different if the author did have different views. The producers are just lucky he happens to be on their side. After all, the 51-year-old would want his book to get into a popular film, and he's only seen films with white casts get globally popular. Does that mean Asian main characters can't make a hit movie? Absolutely not, but we can't blame the man for thinking so. He's barely seen any examples. This is on Hollywood, and it's about time they correct it. And now it's time for some other news. First up, Bullet Train director David Leach used to be Brad's stunt double. While Leach might be Brad's director now, it's not the pair's first time working together. Many may not know this, but GQ dug up and found that David first met Brad as his stunt double for the cult classic Fight Club. The two worked together in many movies after that, like Troy, Spy Game, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Safe to say, this man has taken many punches on behalf of the actor. Next, Joey King looks gorgeous at Bullet Train promotions. Bullet Train will release on August 5th in the US, and promotions are underway. Playing one of the film's main characters, Joey King looked absolutely stunning in an all-black getup. The kissing booth actress wore a string top with a chic leather jacket for promotions in Paris. Her gorgeous padlock chain made her look beautiful, and we couldn't take our eyes off the star. Finally, Brad Pitt wears a skirt to Bullet Train's premiere in Berlin. This actor is all set for his first movie after his Oscar win and seems to be changing his look now. For the Berlin premiere of his upcoming film, Brad wore a calf-bearing linen skirt. He caused quite the stir and even revealed some never-before-seen leg tattoos. We'll say what we think about the film, but we've got to appreciate Brad's bold choice of clothes. That's a wrap on this video. Do you think Bullet Train is worth watching? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.